man. Don't let these tears fool you. It's all dog around this mug. I'm good.
Hey, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones. And yes, I am the host of the State of the Saints podcast. Thank you so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. And on this edition, we're going to be gearing you up for the Saints Week 10 matchup versus the Minnesota Vikings. The New Orleans Saints and they're trying to extend that winning streak to 3. Meanwhile, you have the Minnesota Vikings, who are on a 4-game winning streak and trying to extend it to 5 games. So both teams are 5-4. Both teams have a lot to play for, and both teams can't afford to slip up. We can start with the Minnesota Vikings. Right now, we know that the Detroit Lions are the class of the NFC North right now. So Minnesota is trying to stay lock and step with them. And the New Orleans Saints, what they're trying to do is they're trying to extend their games out to make it insurmountable for other NFC South teams to be able to win this division. This is going to be a good game, folks. This is going to be a good game. To me, both teams are evenly matched. When you look at it across the board, both teams leave a lot to be desired. Both teams have been kind of inconsistent when it comes to like certain positions on the field. But both of these teams are very, very prideful. And if you combine the fact that the fan bases do not like each other for some apparent reason, I guess it has to do with the playoffs, it is shaping up to be a really, really good football game. I'm looking at this game, and before I get started, I got to mention this, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people probably want me to address this. It was involving Michael Thomas. Now, I heard about what happened with Michael Thomas. Of course, this happened on a Friday. I was actually, I was chilling on Friday. I ain't gonna lie to y'all, and getting myself prepared for the Coastal Carolina game that I was at yesterday, calling that. But the whole Michael Thomas situation, you know, is number one, is funny when you think about it. I mean, I can laugh because nobody was hurt. It's just so weird to see someone, you know, upset, throwing a brick at somebody's windshield and seeing it on the news. I mean, I just don't know. I'm just wondering to myself, how did the news even get out there? It just seemed like it was a little bit of a clout chase by the construction worker. But all in all, you can't be on somebody's property. If a guy tells you, you know, he don't want you on his property and still you're parking there and you're posting video and all that kind of stuff. Like, I can't believe I'm working next to Michael Thomas' house. I mean, come on, man, give me a freaking break. But I'm glad that Michael Thomas is still going to be able to play in this game. Michael Thomas didn't have a catch last week. I don't expect that to be the same case this week. The New Orleans Saints need to get number 13 involved, and he will play a huge role, especially when it comes to extending drives on those third down plays for the New Orleans Saints. But all in all, I expect for the New Orleans Saints to come out. I want them to be able to come out the gate putting forth the best effort defensively. I feel like when it comes to Minnesota, you can't afford to be sitting around here, you know, taking a step back and hoping that you can go to the locker room and to change it to Superman. I mean, I don't know. You gotta hit the ground running really, really quickly in this game if you're going to win. Because the Minnesota Vikings, they're one of those teams that can get a lead on you, and they have the defense to be able to keep that lead on you. So they can't afford to be having a game where, you know, it was like with Tyson Bagent, because Tyson Bagent won't be able to put up points to try to make the lead insurmountable. But with the Minnesota Vikings, they can. So the Saints have to be very, very careful if they're going to, you know, try to make this game interesting. So they're going to have to hit the ground running. There's some more things that I want to talk about, but of course I want to get into what you all have to say here with the comments. So thank you all for being here. I really do appreciate it. I'm gonna scroll down a little bit so we can go ahead and get started. Let's go ahead and we'll start with G Fly. G Fly says, good morning, TJ. This can be a monumental win today to start off a nice run. Well, yeah, I think that this is the type of game that Saints fans are waiting for. This is the type of game where, a lot of questions can be answered because the Saints are on this 2-game winning streak, Who Dat Nation. But the problem is a lot of people aren't still buying what the Saints are selling. They feel like the reason why they're on this 2-game winning streak is they're a decent team. They're not great, but they're decent. And when you are a decent team, of course, you're going to beat teams that are considered inferior to you, right? I mean, bad quarterback play with Tyson Bagent being young and inexperienced, Gardner Minshew being a little bit up and down, pretty decent, but not going to move the needle or anything. So a lot of Saints fans are looking at those two and look who you play. But even though Josh Dobbs is going to be in this game, Josh Dobbs is a respectable quarterback. Kevin O'Connell is a respectable coach. And the Minnesota Vikings have won their fair share of games, whether Saints fans like them or not. So this can be a game where you can decide, are the Saints like legit, or they're trying to be for real, or should they be taken serious? This is the game because, I mean, Minnesota is a respectable team in the NFC. Despite the fact that you don't have Kirk Cousins, despite the fact that you don't have Justin Jefferson, you still have KJ Osborne out there. That's a decent number 3. Jordan Addison, the rookie out of USC, he's been playing really well. TJ Hawkinson, one of the best tight ends in football. And then you also have Matterson out there. He's going to be carrying the football. And Chandler, his backup, is going to be coming in because of Cam Akers, former Clinton, Mississippi high school running back. He won't be playing because he tore his Achilles last week. But all in all, I mean, Minnesota still has a formidable offense, and the Saints cannot be keeping these guys around and just thinking that, oh, they ain't got Jefferson, they ain't got Cousins, like they can't win, because they can. But this is the game that I feel like will kind of change the mind of some Saints fans to make them believe, hey, this team might be for real. And as the New Orleans Saints play in this game, look, you don't want 2 weeks of people criticizing you and talking about how bad the team is and how pathetic y'all look. So they might want to win this football game because as a Saints fan, as onlookers, as the team, you don't want to have 2 weeks because this game, you have this game and then you have the bye. So you have 2 weeks of people wondering, are you for real or can you win anything? And you don't want that bad taste in your mouth. I mean, it was like that last year. And then it was like that at the end of the season when the Saints lost to the Carolina Panthers. You don't want to be going into a bye week with people just wondering, what type of team are you? Even though people are wondering, what type of team are you? People rather wonder what type of team you are in a win than what type of team you are in a loss. So they got to get it done today. Let's see. Let me scroll down. Thank you so much. It's good morning, family, and who dat? Let's see. Bayou says, who dat? Let's go Saints. Chemo is asking for a W in the chat if you feel like the Saints are going to win this game. Let's see what's happening. TJ 6-4 today says Cool Sports. What's going on, Cool Sports? Thank you for being here, my friend. Josh says defund all pigs. I want to get into that. I mean, anytime you start talking about that type of stuff, it becomes political, and I don't like dividing people in that regards. Let's see. He also says defund all pigs. Let's see. Saints 27, Vikings 17. That's a good score. I think it's going to be closer than that, though. Tough game for the Saints today. Can they man up? Well, this is the type of game that you got to win. People have been talking about Dennis Allen winning these games, but he hasn't won a game against a team that's a legit contender, a team with a winning record. He goes up against these powder puff teams, right? So this is a game that Dennis Allen has to win. I mean, that's just another check on the list, right? Can you beat a team that has a winning record? So can he do it? We'll see. Exactly. You can only play who's on the schedule. The Colts and the Bears are not a great measure for how good we are. Yeah, I mean, you only can go by that cool sports. That is absolutely true. But the reality is, I mean, you gotta win these games, right? You gotta win the games that you're supposed to win, and you're supposed to win the games, or you got to win the games that people have you as the underdog. I mean, the Saints have a good opportunity to win this game, and honestly, the way things have been going over the last few years when it comes to the injuries with the Saints, looking at other teams and their misfortunes, you feel bad for the players because I don't want to see anybody hurt. I don't care if they a Falcon player. I don't care if they're a Bucks fan. I mean, a Bucks player. I don't care. I don't want to see players hurt. These guys got to take care of their families and they want to show the world what they have to offer. But the misfortunes of these teams, benefits the New Orleans Saints because the years where the Saints was hurt, teams were benefiting off the Saints. So the Saints got to benefit by winning these football games, right? I mean, you can't just be missing a starting quarterback going up against a backup or a rookie or unproven guy and have this guy out here lighting you up. Like that is not what good teams do. And Dennis Allen has to prove that he can beat the good teams, right? This is, to me, this is one of those games where a Saints fan can look and say, you know what, I think this team is turning a corner. But if they don't, then I think we pretty much know what this team actually is. Even though I feel like I know what they are and but they could change the mind of some of the Saints fans. Let's see, calling it now, Mike T will have 100 yards and a touchdown. Well, I mean, I hope so, man. They're just not – I don't care about the 100 yards, but Michael Thomas is much better than not having a target in a game. Like, he's much better than that. Like, I understand that he's not what he used to be when he first came into the league, but he's better than that. He's been consistent all season, so that tells you right there that he can make some plays still. To not have him with more than one target is just absolute travesty. This dude is too good for that. This game will say a lot, though. Yeah, it will. Already read that one. Says this game will tell us what kind of team we are. I don't know if this will tell us what type of team we are because, I mean, I still feel like the Saints aren't. I feel like the Saints are probably middle of the pack average, like a borderline below average, depends on the situation. The way they're coached, not the players. If it was a different coach, I feel like the Saints would probably be one of the top teams in the NFC. But they're a middle of the pack team right now, and I don't feel like it's going to answer all the questions, Irvin. I feel like what it will do is it will probably put a lot of Saints fans' minds at ease to say that they can at least win the division. I don't think that this game is not going to change my mind about this team. Like, I don't feel like you're going to get what you want as a fan, as an onlooker, as a person that reports on the team. I don't feel like you're going to get what you want from this team until Dennis Allen and P. Carmichael are no longer with the team. It's just that simple. Like, I don't trust these guys. I don't feel like they're the right fit for this team. Like, I feel like a lot of what we're feeling is our own emotions towards the team versus what actually is. Like, I feel like it's almost like a Jedi mind trick. Like, we're trying to psych ourselves up to believe that this team can be much better than what they actually are under this regime. And that's just not the case. Like, can they win today? Yes. I take it one game at a time. Like, I don't think that these guys are going to muster up enough strength to win a Super Bowl, make a deep playoff run. I just think that when I look at this football team, because my expectations of them are so freaking low, winning the next game has become, the bar, if you ask me. I don't feel like it's going to decide anything. I don't. Like, I don't. Like, you start off the season believing one particular thing because the schedule was so easy, and you're wondering to yourself, how in the world can you screw this thing up? And as you can see, through 9 games, they pretty much screwed it up. Like, they lost to teams that they should have won. They had leads that they couldn't hold on to. They made mistakes that cost them football games. And now over the last 2 games, they did enough to win. And now all of a sudden, like, I'm supposed to, go back to the predictions I did at the beginning of the season when I felt like the schedule was so easy and the defense was going to be so good that if they get to the playoffs, they'll be able to knock somebody off. I don't feel that way. I just don't. Like, I'm looking at it versus the long-term outcome of this team, because I just feel like anybody that's feel like the Saints can be able to do anything like that, just unconventional under this regime, I just think that you're basically just setting yourself up for failure. Now, if I'm wrong, I would be glad to say that I'm wrong. I would be glad to come on here and say, you know what, week 10, I said this, and I was wrong. But I don't think that I am, because I don't believe in Dennis Allen. I don't believe in Dennis Allen. I don't feel like he's tough enough. I don't feel like he's the best coach for the job. I feel like he's way too passive. I feel like when it comes to certain situations, when he go up against teams with good records and teams that have really good coaches or good coaches, he gets out coached. So as long as you're going to continue to have that problem, I think that you're going to continue to fall flat on your face more times than not. Yeah, you'll give Saints fans great moments. Don't like you'll give them great moments because the team is good. But when it comes down to it, the same great moments you're going to give them, you're going to give them an equal amount of frustrating moments as well. Says, love my Saints, but they need to prove us wrong by being a consistent team. 24-20 Vikings. Well, ain't nothing wrong with that. Says, we got to win. Q. Let's see. We win. Go on to buy. Looking good. Who that? And this one says this is a must-win game because it is a game that can indicate either team's playoff chances. Yeah, and there's a chance that if the Saints do win, they might see the Minnesota Vikings in the playoffs again. And if they lose, there's still a chance that they might see them in the playoffs again. Let's see. I'm ready to see the Saints go off on somebody today. Cam and Granderson need to rough up Dobbs. Deep passing. Yeah, I mean, look, that's a good segue. Got one to what I feel like the Saints' keys to victory are in this game. The Saints' keys to victory, in my opinion, is Derek Carr throwing the football. If you look at the Minnesota Vikings, they've done a really good job throughout the season neutralizing the run. They did a really good job last week against the Atlanta Falcons with Tyler Algier and Bijan Robinson. Both of them were a non-factor in the game. And I just feel like when it comes to Alvin Kamara, I'm a little bit concerned at how the Saints have been utilizing him in the offense this season. How is he going to be able to be a factor in his football game? It might be tough for the Saints to try run the football. So I'm looking for Derek Carr to be able to throw the ball down the field. That's why I feel like it'll probably be a good game for a guy like Michael Thomas. Minnesota plays a lot of zone. And they'll probably switch up to man coverage, which will benefit guys like Rashid Shaheed. So if they're playing man coverage, I can see Rashid Shaheed having a big game. If they're playing zone in this game, I can see Michael Thomas having a big game, extending drives and catching the ball on third down. And also, this can be a really good game to get the tight ends involved. Juwan Johnson had a touchdown catch last week. If you can get him involved, get Foster Moreau involved, I think you'll be fine. But I just think that Derek Carr throwing the football can be key in this game. Utilizing Taysom Hill a little bit more as a passer in this game can also help to try to not make it as one-dimensional. I do feel like the way that he is running the QB power and the way that the offensive line is blocking for him doing that can play a huge role because of it being so unconventional, and Minnesota can be a little bit confused, don't know what he's going to do. So that can be a factor. But to me, I just think that the Saints taking advantage of some of the passes like in the soft spots, and also being able to get behind the defense. If Chris Olave or if you're Rashid Shaheed, it can pay dividends for the New Orleans Saints. But if the Saints running the football wins this game, it will be out to me. So gotta rely on these. This is a game where the receivers play a big factor in this game based on how Minnesota has been playing defense as of late. Let's see. Cool Palms. I personally don't like Harbaugh, but he isn't. He is a competent coach, which we do not have presently. Yeah, look, I'm a Jim Harbaugh guy. You know what I'm saying? I'm a Jim Harbaugh guy. Like, we want to talk about ethics and all that kind of stuff there, and talk about like, oh man, I wouldn't want him on my team. Man, whatever. Look, the name of the game is winning. These people want to win football games, and I guarantee you they'll never admit this, but having a moral compass kind of plays secondary to winning football games. If that was the case, then why is it that we see guys who constantly get in trouble with the law? Why is it that we constantly see people who have checkered past get opportunity after opportunity after opportunity? They become coordinators again. They become head coaches again. Players, if they're good enough, they get opportunities to play again. I mean, how many times have we seen Josh Gordon hit the field? How many times have we seen Antonio Brown hit the field? So while people walk, when somebody brings up the name like Jim Harbaugh, like nope, nope, nope. I mean, come on, man. You can listen to the news all you want to, and the news can convince you that this guy is not good enough to coach your football team because it's gonna come with scrutiny. But I guarantee you, if the Saints hire Jim Harbaugh and the Saints start winning, nobody in this chat is gonna care about a moral compass at that point. I mean, give me a freaking break. Jim Harbaugh is a good coach. And if the Saints were to hire him as their head coach, they're going to win some freaking football games. Look, it is a very dark area in some areas of the college football. I mean, we've seen it, right? We've seen illegal practices, colleges buying houses for families, like buying different things, buying the affections of players. We've seen all these things they have done, schools have done to get a competitive edge over another school. I mean, miss me with that stuff. I mean, these practices have been going on for I don't know how long. Like, I don't feel like it's a deal breaker for a guy to come in to be a head coach. I know this may sound like, I lack empathy or whatever, but I mean, come on, man. Pete Carroll has been coaching in the National Football League for almost 2 decades. Because does anybody remember why he left USC in the first place? But do you hear about different situations in Seattle about them using illegal practices or anything else that's going on? Absolutely not. So, I mean, I don't know, man. Like, if Jim Harbaugh was to come and be the head coach of the New Orleans Saints, I'd be excited about it. I would, because I mean that trying to find any way that you can to have a competitive edge in college football is nothing new under the sun. And that, I mean, go and look at the history of it. I mean, go check out Pony Assess with SMU, right? I mean, go look at some of these other like program practices that have been brought to light, and they changed out coaches, or they kept the coach and they kept winning, or they found another coach that can help them win. Like, the wheels keep turning, folks. The wheels keep turning. So I wouldn't be upset about it. Not me. Let's see. He'll be checked down Derek today with the Minnesota pass rush. Let's see. What's up, TJ? Can't check in live most of the time. Listen to you daily while I'm working. What time do you usually do the live? Shout out from the Saints fan in Georgia, loyal to the soil. Hector, thank you so much. Honestly, man, I'm more like a pop-up shop when it comes to the live, to be honest with you. I try to kind of keep them consistent within the times in which I do lives, but I don't do them at the same time because my schedule really doesn't permit me to do it, based on like my obligations at work. The fact that if my wife can be able to, be around while Paxton is, at home while I actually do most of my podcasts. So most of the time it's me trying to build a live stream like around my schedule. So I apologize for that. I wish I could have like one set scheduled time where I can actually go live where people can know, but based on how I do things, probably never gonna happen. Let's see, Barbara. I don't believe in all three of them together until they those instantly. Yeah, I mean, I think that, well, regardless, if you keep Dennis Allen, Pete Carmichael is not going to be here, or vice versa, right? I don't see. I can see Dennis Allen somehow keeping his job, because Mickey Loomis is probably going to look at the Saints and be like, okay, man, if we can get like another coordinator in here, y'all know how it go, man. These Saints, these Saints, the organization itself, like Mickey Loomis, like these individuals do not want to admit when they're wrong. Like, they will double down, even triple down on the situation, and they don't care. Like, they don't care. Like, they any way they can to try to prove that what they did was a good idea, they're gonna try to tweak it and edit it any way that they can. But I can see a scenario where they keep Dennis Allen. I do not see a scenario where they keep Pete Carmichael. I don't. I do not see a scenario in which Pete Carmichael is here next year. Pete Carmichael, to me, with all this stuff that he's doing as of late and improving a little bit, is basically for him to save face so he can go out here and try to find himself another job. Let's see. Yeah, below, I think Florida got a job on that third and long pass. The SMU debt sentence. Yep. Let's see. I don't care if David Duke is the coach as long as we win. uh, oh man, I don't know about that one right there. You might have a plenty of difference of opinion on that one. Let's see. At this point, I don't see the Saints organization hiring anybody new as a head coach. I don't either. I don't. Let's see. Q, give me a who that. You just like me, but you still got faith. Who is Q? I mean, I don't know. Let's see. Who is Q? If they got a Q in the chat, or are you mistaking me with Big Q? Uh, let's see. Mike M. I cannot stomach Duke, even if he were the Saints coach. I have to find another team. Yeah, man, that's a little bit too far right there. I mean, there's a difference between a guy who was guilty of sending somebody on the sidelines to spy versus the grand cyclops or the grand wizard of the Ku Klux Klan. I mean, there's a difference there. I mean, I don't know. Like, maybe you can tell me one guy is the head of one of the most racially one of the most well-known hate groups in American history, and another guy coaches football like that, and send somebody on the sidelines to possibly spy allegedly. I mean, there's a huge difference there. There's a huge difference there. Let's see. Misdemeanor crimes. I hear you. I'm not crazy about him necessarily, but he's a good coach. He took the 49ers to the Super Bowl. If he was our coach, we probably be 8-1 right now. Yeah, look, man, Jim Harbaugh has won everywhere he went. He won at Stanford. He won with the 49ers. He turned Michigan around. Like, y'all can say whatever y'all want about him. Everywhere that he has gone, they won and won a lot. And, he has did a really good job with the talent that he had. And he does a really good job at bringing in talent, right? I mean, so you can say whatever you want. The name of the game is winning. And the guy is indeed a winner, and he's a hell of a coach. Rather you want to admit it or not, rather you want to, stick up your nose and talk about having a moral compass, the fact of the matter is the dude is a really good coach. Drew Brees needs to come in house and play some part in the organization. Yeah, I mean, look, if that's what he wants to do, but we can't force him to do something that he don't want to do. Maybe he don't want to be a part of the organization in a coaching capacity. Maybe he just likes showing up, looking at film, shaking hands, reconnected with old teammates. Maybe that's just what he wants to do. TJ, who do you like at offensive coordinator? Who do I like at offensive coordinator? Man, now there's a few guys that are out there right now. I wouldn't mind like Joe Brady coming along, being the offensive coordinator. He's the quarterbacks coach right now for the Buffalo Bills. I wouldn't mind, another guy like Cliff Kingsbury. I wouldn't mind like grabbing him from USC. There's plenty of offensive coordinators that are out there. You got some promising guys with some talent out there. The offensive coordinator for the Miami Dolphins, I wouldn't mind him either. So there are several guys that you can bring in the interview, and that can provide a spark for the team, and and provide some innovation. But those are some guys that I can just think of right off the rip. Drew served his time. He earned the time to raise his kids and do what he wants. I'm gladly welcome him back, but in his own time. Yeah, I mean, ain't no rush for that. David Duke, thank you very much for the $2. Says, I heard there was an opening on the Saints staff. No, there's not. Not for you, my friend. Let's see. That boy trying to enjoy his kids. Let him live his life. Let's see. He says DA is soft. I think I said the word soft earlier. I wanna retract that statement. I don't think that Dennis Allen is soft. I think he's passive. I think that he's passive, and I think that because he's so passive, I think that it can kind of come off on the field, and you can kind of see it in the players as well. And that part I don't like. I feel like that could be a recipe for a disaster. It could be an absolute recipe for disaster on that one right there. So all in all, I got the New Orleans Saints. I think they're going to win this game. I got the score being 20-17. I think they should be able to knock off the Minnesota Vikings. Should be an exciting game. Want to say thank you all for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. Really do appreciate it. I'll be back at halftime to talk a little bit about the game, the Week 10 matchup. Hopefully, the Saints can pick it up in the first half and win the football, and also bring that, have the momentum in the first half and bring into the second half versus looking like a completely different team in the second half. Previous episodes available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Anchor FM. Thank you all for tuning in. Enjoy the game. Once again, we'll be back at halftime. Till next time, all I got to say is, who dat?